Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Welcome to my, I did put on the lights. Wow, that's serious. Okay, welcome. The studio is lit up. Welcome to my Facebook live broadcast show and to our YouTube channel. Thank you for hooking up with us. This Merry Christmas to everyone. The year is running to an end. Christmas is coming. I'm sure by now everyone is preparing for Christmas. It's a festive mood already here. Hamatan, the weather is really giving us some cool feels of what Christmas is all about. Thank you for hooking up with us on Monday Morning Matter. My name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches grow healthier through empirical assessments, trainings, and strategic blueprints. I'm also a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the US. I'm the host of your weekly broadcast show, Monday Morning Matter, 7 a.m. every Monday, Nigerian time. So a big thank you to those who are liking, commenting, asking questions, reacting to our posts on a timely basis, sharing our content out. Thank you so much. God bless you. We're so grateful that you are in contact with us. And for those who are listening, I went to a training and I heard some people who listen to me but they don't make comments. That's fine. Just make sure that you get the juice out of some of the things we are sharing. My pastor told me that I'm giving too much information, but that's fine. Make sure that you value those information, because those information, the fact that it's coming to you free does not mean that it is actually free. Okay? Get my book also on church retention, pathway to growth. And today we're going to go straight into the tips to consider before joining that church. Tips to consider before joining that. So what are you looking out for in a church before joining that church? What are you looking for in a church before joining that local assembly? What are the parameters? What are the yardsticks to consider before joining that local church? Do we have some guidelines from a church consultant perspective? Guidelines to follow while joining that church. You know, sometimes you don't just go to the church and begin to look at the aesthetics, the beauty, the physical appearances, because the physical appearance may be deceptive. Okay, but then let's look at the real heart of the issue that you should consider before joining that church. For someone like me, I will tell you free here that a church that does not acts like a family. I mean, they don't reach out, they don't look out for you for their own, and that shows that that's not a church to belong, or a church that does not recognize Christ as the head of the church. Then there's going to be the problem. Or a church that does not give you a peculiar sense of belonging. We're going to look. So our world is moving so fast. Our world is moving so fast, and there's a lot of migration right now. There's a lot of movement. The pandemic has made a lot of people to be very mobile in terms of not giving 100% loyalty to churches. So it's easier for people to move from one church to another, but you need to be able to know that you're not moving from fire pan to fire, or you're not moving from something that is good to worse, or something that is worse to worst. Okay, so movement from one church to another, you need to look at some of these skills, because transferred growth cannot be evaded, because you are going to move from house, you're going to change jobs, you're going to change careers, change location. So transferred growth is always an option in that kind of scenarios. So as you plan this very important decision on joining a church, consider asking some of these important questions prior to making that decision to join in church. You see, you might make the decision, but when you look at some of these guidelines before making that decision, when something happens after making that decision, it will help you to reorder your steps, or take advantage or reduce the disadvantage or the pros of that decision that you have made to join in that church. Okay, so get my book on church retention, Pathway to Growth. All right, it will surely help you. In fact, some pastors are reaching out to me to tell me how helpful those information are. I will have made it more voluminous, but you see, you cannot write everything a man knows in a book. You just have to just put a pen to stop at some point and allow the book to make some impact in the lives of people. So, tips to consider before joining that church. What are the tips? We're going to go, this is part one. We're going to go straight on, and then we're going to go back throughout the month of December. All right, number one is the church doctrinal statement. Is it biblical? You know, there's what they stand for, their doctrinal standpoint, their doctrinal statement. Is it biblical? Is it straightforward? I mean, is it clear? Is it precise? Could there be any intended ambiguities, gray areas? Because sometimes when those gray areas are not clear enough, when those gray areas are not nipped with being with the perspective that is biblical or straightforward, there is room for a magnitude of errors that can occur in that church. So you need to find out, could there be intended ambiguities in the leadership statement of faith? In a situation with a place. So look at the church creed, the church core values, the belief system, the what they stand for, what they do not stand for, what's their likes, what's their dislikes. Now, all those things, are they biblical? Are they things that you can actually prove from scriptures that is actually abiding by the scriptures? Okay, number two. What is the leadership major preaching philosophy? I've seen churches who their preaching only appeals to the mind. They are so philosophical in their preaching, and there's no spiritual depth. There are some churches who are just becoming so business and academical, okay, without no spiritual depth. So there must be some form of balance, okay, so that whatever the preaching philosophy is, it has an impact on your spiritual life, on your spirit, on your soul, and your body. Is it based on the technique that is expository and topical? Okay, can we say that some of these the preaching content are actually taking its root from the scriptures? Okay, so look at the major preaching philosophy of that church and ask yourself, is this preaching philosophy going to uplift my spiritual life and make me better as a Christian? Number three, is church discipline used in that church? Look at the church in the past 10 years. Have there been all kinds of maybe adultery, all kinds of sin, immorality and things like that. And what has the church done? Okay, has it been those church discipline, were they done in love and grace? Were they done from a biblical standpoint? You see, and then you look at a church that does not have church discipline. I can tell you, I for one, if a church does not have church discipline, I think I will not want to join that church, because if you go into error, you just wallow into it until nobody cares, nobody wants to caution you, nobody wants to give you any head on what is going on. So is there any evidence of church discipline in the last 10 years of the church existence? And how are they able to deal with such offenses? How are they able to deal? Is there a way of resolving conflict? Is there a way of resolving conflict that has worked over time? Because if it has worked over time, that church is also matured to deal with future conflict, future offenses and things like that. Oh, I need to wrap up in another 7 minutes. Okay, no, that's number 3. Number 4, is it too easy to join and leave this neighborhood? See, this is just for me. I love to join a church that will always have an exit. Most of the time when we have this imploding situation, is that we do have agreements that doesn't have an exit clause, okay, or a dissolution clause. Okay, things should not be done in such a way that is perpetually continuous. Okay, it's easy to join. You should also have an easy way out. Just like when I'm entering into a house, I should know where is the exit door, okay, in case in the future, because we don't know the future. So what are the expectations of leaving that church? What are the expectations of joining that church? Okay, is it too easy to join and leave this neighborhood church? Is there a membership class? What is the expectation of me to this church? What is the expectation of this church to me, or other criteria that may be met before I join the church? You see, most people don't want to ask this question: what am I bringing on the table? And by the time you join and they start asking some questions, then there will be some form of increased backdoor rate in the church, because the expectations were not made clear from the membership class. So membership class is a place where you make your expectation, what is expected, what you cannot compromise with, okay, what is permitted in your church, what is not allowed in your church. All those things must be clear in your membership class. Okay, number 5, what role does the church music ministry play? Okay, that's just the worship. The worship side of the church must be healthy. Okay, what is the church music ministry playing in the spiritual life of the church? Is it mostly used for worship or discipleship, or is it primarily used for entertainment? I've seen churches who, when they finish praise and worship, I say, wow, that's like a nightclub, or like a party, or like a show. Okay, you could see that this music ministry is not revolving or centering around God. Okay, that's why in those kind of churches you have worship wars. They want to have blues, they want to have reggae, they want to have water and things like that. The worship wars, they want to have hymns and things like that. But see, when the church attitude is that it's all about God, then there's going to be headway in that kind of church. So find out whether music ministry is relevant to the worship and the discipleship life of the church. Is it primarily used for entertainment? If it's used for entertainment, of course, you know that will not help your spiritual life on the long run. Number 6, what is the framework, the government, the structure of the church? Okay, what is the hierarchy of the church like? Okay, do we have a pastor who is not submissive to maybe the congregation, or is not submissive to the board of directors, or is not submissive to some council of elders? The pastor is like the god of the church, and it does not take correction, or nobody can actually tell him that this thing you are doing is way off the confines of what the church stands for. Is the church led by a single executive pastor, a group of pastors? You need to just have those head-on information before joining that church, so that when there are issues, when there are concerns, where there are things that you need to address, you'll be able to know how to address it, because you know the polity of the church, you know the government of the church, you know the structure and the framework of the church, and how to be able to communicate whatever information you want to make to that church clear in that church. Okay, and so I'm going to just the part 1 today. of tips to consider before joining that church. Sorry, I will have to stop here. Tomorrow, next Monday, we're going to continue in this tip on part 2, and then continue like that till we get to the last Monday of it. So please get my book and make sure that you get it quickly because they are running out of stock. If this video has been helpful to you, give us a thumbs up, share it to us, to share us out to a community, share us out to a pastor, a church worker, a church leader. I'm sure it's going to help them. Please, if this video has been helpful to you, please give us the thumbs up. Let me hear from you. Just drop a comment. You have any related question, maybe a tip that you need to consider before what tip you need to consider to join a church, or what tips you have considered to join a church. I would love to hear from you. Let's see how those comments can be helpful for a subsequent week, and then that will help us in doing some justice. I see part 2, part 3, part 4 in this. I want to hear from you. So please feel free to go on our social media handles and then interact with some of our content. We've done a lot of videos in our YouTube channel, in our Facebook page. We do consultations, we do trainings, we do revitalization efforts and strategic planning. Reach out to us. We will love to help you help you move from where you are to where you need to be. That's our contact. I'm the receptionist of my company, so I respond to every for now I respond to every communication. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will surely get across you. Till I come away next week Monday with a continuation of this on part 2, I say bye bye and God bless you, and I love you.